This is Math Minutes with John Mines, reviewing the skills you need for success in grade 12. Today's topic, exponent rules. So we looked at some zero exponents and negative exponents previously. Here it's just good to remember that x to the third means x times x times x. So this would be 3x's, and this would be another 2x's right next to it. So these guys are going to be x to the fifth. What's the rule? You add the exponents. If you want to see it, it looks like this, where there are 5x's and they're really all multiplied together. This one is really 8x's up here in the top, and then in the denominator we have 3x's. So you'll note that 3 of the x's in the denominator can cancel with 3 of the x's in the numerator and can leave us with x to the fifth. What's the rule? You subtract the exponents. In this rule, you add the exponents. This rule, you subtract the exponents. What about down here? This means x to the third times x to the third, which is 3x's plus another 3x's, x times x times x times x times x times x. This is going to be x to the sixth. So something very important to see here, and that is on this one up here, what did we do with that 2 and that 3? We added them to get x to the fifth. Here, when you have a power to a power, what do you do with them? You multiply them right like that. It becomes x to the sixth. So here's a few we can practice. On this one, it looks a lot like this rule right here. So we added the exponents, and they will become 5 plus negative 4 is x to the first. If you want to see what that actually looks like, it's x to the fifth over, what do you do with negative exponents? You make them positive and put them in the denominator, or put them in the other part of the fraction, and that becomes 5 minus 4. It's now like this rule. You can think of it both ways, but either way the answer is x to the first. Here you have a power to a power, so you multiply them, which will become x to the 0. But remember from our last video, don't leave it like that. X to the 0 is always equal to 1, or anything to the 0 power is always equal to 1. This one's a little interesting. You might say, well, what does that turn into? Let's remember up here on this one, it was really x to the 3 plus 2, which is the same as x to the fifth, which is the same as x to the third times x to the second, which means this is the same as x to the third times x to the m. Now, whether or not that's the simplified form or this is the simplified form, it depends, but it's important that you see that you could write it like this, because sometimes you'll need to do that. Finally, x to the third plus x to the second. That's not exactly the same as this one, because that's a plus and that's a times. Not this one and not this one. Then you're going to remember back a little bit that these are not like terms, so you can't combine them. So they just stay x to the third plus x squared. What's important to see here is sometimes there's absolutely nothing you can do to the question. So don't get this, which turns into x to the fifth, mixed up with this, which doesn't really turn into anything. If you found this video useful, go ahead and subscribe in the top left, and then head on over to majohnmines.com to check out more videos and resources.